Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about food preservation, and one of the best ways to do that is dehydration. We're excited to show you this new Chefman food dehydrator. Stick with us. Okay, throughout our research, we found that you have basically two types of food dehydrators. One is a stackable dehydrator, where you have a heating element and fan unit on the bottom, and you stack trays on top of that. And the other one here is a rear-mounted heating and fan element that blows air through the trays to the front. Now, we opted for this type of unit because the other ones we heard do not evenly dry the fruit or vegetables that you're putting in there, or whatever it is. Maybe you're doing jerky. The heating element at the bottom is pushing up all that hot air through that first layer, and those are getting much drier quicker than the ones on the top. And you usually have to switch the stackable trays to get an even dryness of all those fruits and vegetables. On this one, that air is blowing straight through from the back fan, evenly through all of your trays. And that was really important for us, so we didn't have to fuss around with unstacking things and testing out the dryness and stacking it back up in a different order. This way, we found in our initial tests, everything came through at an even dryness. Now, of course, certain fruits and vegetables need to be cut to a proper thickness so they dry about the same time as others. So if I fill this up with all apples at 1/4 inch thick, they're all going to dry at the same time. But as you can see in the pictures here, we have different types of fruits and vegetables in there as a test to see what each one did. We got an even dryness throughout our pineapple on the bottom as we did our apples on the top. Now the tomatoes took a little bit longer. We actually added some time to them just because of their water content. But that was no big deal, because what comes here in the operating instructions are some general times for each of the fruits and vegetables that you want to dry. Now we've got apples, bananas, blueberries, grapes, pineapple, strawberries, tomatoes, etc., etc. And general temperatures and thicknesses for them. Now I found that the apples obviously dry quicker if they're thinner, so we cut them at 1/8 of an inch instead of a 1/4 inch thickness. The pineapple slices we did use out of a can, so those took about 8 hours, which on here, between 8 and 9 hours is the recommended time. Our apples took about 6. So you can consult with this, and you're going to need to vary your time and your drying length on the thickness of whatever you put in there and the water content of what you have. So everything that we put in there, with the exception of the blueberries, because the blueberries, as you can tell, oh no, you can't tell, but I'm going to tell you, 36 to 42 hours. So I wasn't going to do 42 hours for a dry blueberry. They were still tasty at the 8 hours that we did everything else at. They had some water content left, obviously, but they're still very good. And you know, I found a lot of people say that dehydration takes away a lot of flavor, but I found that everything we dehydrated had amazing flavor. It was concentrated. Especially that dry pineapple. That was like candy, and my daughter ate that up in about 15 seconds. So let's take a look at the operation and the construction of the unit here. So we've got, just up here on the top, we've got our power switch. And as soon as you hit that, you're going to hear the fan go on. And it's going to start. And it's going to default to 10 hours on this unit. And you can adjust your timer here with these arrow keys. We're going to go down in time, and the half an hour increments are really great. So if you find something didn't dry perfectly, or you didn't cut it to exactly the size that you need, you can add half-an-hour increments, and it's really great. So you can go over here also to temperature, and its top temperature is 158 degrees, and we can adjust that down. Temperature, here we go. Adjust that down to what we need per our guide here. And if you can see that, everything is between 135 and 145 roughly for fruits, a little bit less for herbs, a lot bit less for herbs, 100 to 115, and then vegetables are a little bit less, 125 to 140, and then the meat and seafood and jerky are higher at between 150 and 158. So we can set that and adjust it wherever we need it. We left it at 140 for our test, and that was perfect. Now, as you can hear, I'll get closer to it. This thing is really quiet. We had this on, obviously, for about 8 hours, and it was very pleasant. There's no loud background noise. It's just a quiet fan, if you can hear that. All right, let's turn this off here and take a look at inside and see what you get. It takes a second to shut down. So we've got the front off. You see that front stops a lot of sound, because it did get louder as soon as we opened it up. All right, let's take a peek at this. With this unit, you get 6 trays. This is a 6-tray unit. They sell a 9. This one was $100, and we figured that this was a great size to start, and it was perfect size to do the fruits that we did the other day. Something very important to get in a dehydrator is a drip tray, because things like the tomatoes and the pineapple will really expel some water down into that drip tray, and you don't want to try to clean it out of the bottom of the unit. So this coming with the drip tray is really fantastic. The only other thing it came with was this. Now, they call this a fruit leather sheet here, and through a little bit more research, the fruit leather sheets actually have much smaller holes than this. This is more for drying herbs. And I have yet to contact the company and say, hey, you know, this isn't the best thing in the world for fruit leathers, because you're going to get a lot of drippage through. And we tried some applesauce on there, and you got a ton of moisture, of water just dripping through the bottom of it. That's another great reason to have that drip tray in there for sure. But no big deal. You can buy aftermarket specific fruit leather sheets for it. These obviously fit right in on these trays, and these are also a great size. Look at the size. It's 13 by 12, so you get a lot of room here. Now, when you place your fruit on there, you want to leave enough space between that fruit for the air to escape and get up through the sheet. I know it's coming across this way, but air is still moving inside the whole unit in many different directions. So you want to leave enough space. You don't want to pile them on top of each other and make this completely impervious to air, because then it's not going to work very well. So as you can see from the before and after pics, we got a great product out of here, and this is actually, my daughter got into it, and this is actually all we have left are these bananas. These banana chips. She wasn't big on the banana chips. I like them a lot. You can see that they've had all the moisture sucked out of them. They're really great. So living on a homestead, you're going to have a ton of opportunity to preserve food. And you can do that by canning, by freezing, and by dehydrating. And in my opinion, this is a great buy at $100 for what it did. And we've got, you know, a ton of dried fruit. It only took a day, you know, a work day, about 8 hours to get that done. It's kind of one of those set it, forget it things. And we didn't have any problems with it. There wasn't any bad smells from this being plastic. I know a lot of people like stainless steel and all that, but for what it's worth, you know, the plastics, they said, were free of what is it, BPA bisphenol A, BPA, whatever it is. And I don't have a problem with it. There was no off-gassing of the plastic like our air fryer over there. That was pretty bad for a couple days. But this one, not a problem. No taste in the food from the plastic of the housing or the trays. It was actually very nice. All right, so anyway, we hope you enjoyed the video, and we'd love for you to stick around on our channel for a while, which means subscribing and liking the video. And if you have any questions about this dehydrator and why we chose it, put that in the comment section below, and we're happy to have you here. Thank you, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.
Each feather